Hi everybody, this is Joni Stahl. As you can see, I'm not in my apartment. I am in the local mountains here with my husband Jonathan. We thought we would get away for a couple days because we just needed to get away from lockdown world. And these mountains are not that far from our house, so we thought what better to get out, go see the lake, breathe fresh non-COVID air. So we came up here and, you know, as beautiful as it is, I mean, it's totally gorgeous. And I mean, doesn't it just bring out the best in us when we get out in God's creation, right? Like we see his birds, his trees, his waters, and we get refreshed in Christ. And we realize why Jesus loved to always resort in the garden. Oh gosh, so here I am, and I want to share some things with you because, well, number one, I didn't plan to video when I go for a getaway alone with my husband. That's our private time, but there's some things that happened spiritually, and something the Lord has done in this little time that we have come up to these mountains. And like my husband said to me while we were here, this is where God always meets people, in the mountains. And he's right. Like, you know, we look at Mount Sinai and Mount Tabor and the Mount of Transfiguration and Mount Carmel. And there's something about coming up to the mountains. And I obviously don't do that often. So I'm just going to get with it right now because I just want to get with what I want to say. You know, over the last 3 weeks, I've been feeling really worn out. Not worn out from doing these videos. Understand me. This is a labor of love. I love doing these videos, but there's a work that God does in me. And, you know, and when God gives us a work to do, we have to hold on to it loosely, right? Because we never know when God is going to say, I'm going to change it up, or I'm going to add something to it, or I'm going to direct you this way. And we got to be people that know how to move with the Lord. And if we're not people who know how to move with the Lord, we're going to remain in desert places. We're not going to be led beside the still waters. We're going to find ourselves apart from Christ, okay? So we could be working for Christ, but away from him. And so what I want to say is that I started to really feel like there was something changing. Now, remember at the beginning of this year, I'm sorry, I'm looking at my husband and our dog. At the beginning of this year, I felt that God had done some changes in me, and I went through something, and it was powerful, and it was life-changing. It was a horrible attack, but it did something to me, and it changed me. And so over the last 3 weeks, I started to really feel that there's something else, like something is happening, and I couldn't tell what it was. And so what I did was, after about a week of that, I thought, I'm going to take this to the Lord. And so I got alone in prayer like I normally do. You know how I do that. I get alone with the Lord. And I was like, Lord, what is really happening? Like, what am I feeling? This feels like a cul-de-sac. This feels like I've grown out of a pair of shoes, and I'm aware of it. What is happening inside of me? And he didn't answer. So another week of that goes by, and it's increasing, and it's increasing. And I didn't even know how to talk about it with my husband. I didn't talk about it to any, you know, I have a couple of very close friends. And those close friends, I didn't even talk to them about it because I didn't know what it meant. So after that, after a couple of weeks, it started to increase. And I was like, Lord, seriously, I don't know what is happening. I said, but I have to face that there's something that you're moving in me to do. So after about 3 weeks of that, we came here. And so the first night that we were here, I had a dream. Now let me pause. Because you see, in my dream, I dreamed of something that I always pray to God about. And first, let me just say it to you. I am no athlete. I am not a jogger. I am a walker. I've never been a person who got involved with sports. I don't have that kind of a body. But, you know, I think God gave me it more up here, or here. But I always pray to God lately because as I'm getting older, it's important to me that my walk with Christ is more defined and more detailed, and it's not just about this blanket covering, one size fits all, I want to serve you, Lord. But that was part of it, that I was feeling this, there's something else coming, and I don't know what that means. And I said, Lord, am I done with field notes? And there was silence. No, that's not it. I was like, what is it, Lord? I want to run my race. And so I always pray this prayer to the Lord. I always say, Lord, let me run. Let me run my race unhindered, unencumbered. I said, I just want to get out. I want to preach the gospel. I want to tell people about you, Jesus. I want to speak about your resurrection. I want the power of the endless life to flow out of me into the lives of everybody. If I'm going to live in your earth in this time, in this world, then let me be that vessel that you created me to be, not for any name for myself, but for his name's sake. So the first night we got here, I had a dream. And in my dream, I saw myself kind of randomly walking around here and there. And I was like, all of a sudden, that man that's with me in my dream, he's always on my right hand. All of a sudden, he's on my right hand. And he gave me something to deliver. And he told me, you better, deliver this. And it was of utmost importance. And time was of the essence. And I realized that what he had asked me to do necessitated me to run. And I looked at the thing in my hand. I don't know what it was, but it was vital. It was critical. It was important for me to deliver it. And I was like, I looked in my hand and I looked ahead of me like a path, like I'm seeing right now, like, paths in the wilderness, right? Like where I'm at. And I said to myself, I looked at the thing in my hand, I looked at where I had to deliver it, and I said, there's not enough time. There's not enough time for me to get there. You would have to run. And I thought, it's so important that I know that if I walked with this thing in my hand, it will miss the mark. There will not be enough time for me to get it there. So in my dream, I said, I'm no runner. I gotta run, but I don't know how to, I'm not a runner. Like I'm not a runner. Trust me when I tell you I am not a runner. So I said, I'm gonna have to run. So I took off. The second I started running, 5-10 steps into my running, all of a sudden this power entered into me and I began to run like a champion. As I was running, more power was coming into me. And I noticed I was running like a 15-year-old. You know how they can just spring load off the ground? And I noticed as I was running, I was looking at my arms and I was looking at my legs and I was seeing my entire body change into this other body. And this other body that I had didn't even look like mine. It had perfect muscles and it was full of strength and power. Every muscle was perfect. And then as I kept going, I noticed that everything I was wearing turned brilliantly white. And I woke up. So I started to notice, I started to churn a lot in the spirit. And so that next morning, I just felt very turbulent. I was not understanding what was happening to me. I was like, Lord, I don't understand. Something is happening to me. You're doing something. I can't tell what it is. So then that next night, I had another dream. Before that evening, Jonathan and I was telling Jonathan all about my dream. I was telling him there's something happening. There's something moving. There's something going on. I don't know what it is. I feel like there's something more that's coming. Well, that night I had a dream, another dream. And in my dream, I saw myself at someone's house that I had finished housekeeping. Because I used to do that for a job. And once in a while, I'll do that for a friend of mine. And so anyways, I was at this house and I was finished cleaning it. Like I was completely done cleaning it. I'm switching hands. So I was completely done cleaning it. And you know how if you're in the housekeeping business, you walk through the house just to make sure everything is as it should be for when they come home, it's done. So as I was walking away, I thought I need to use the restroom. So I looked in the bathroom and there was like a shelf in front of me and I saw something black and something move and it was like trying to hide from me. And so I thought, what's that? See, I've had a lot of dreams of the enemy, lots of dreams. And I walked over to take a peek at it, and all of a sudden this big black spider the size of my hand moves up to let me know I'm looking at you. Like, I've had dreams of spiders before, and they were demonic spirits, okay? And so that thing had intelligence, but it didn't try to hide from me at that point. It wanted me to see that it was seeing me. And it had intelligence like, I see you. And I was like, whoa. And I ran out of there, and I thought, I've got to go to the bathroom. I'm not going back in there. I know what that thing was. So I left the house, went through the front door. I thought I'd go around the back and go through another part of the house to use the master bathroom. So as I did, I noticed that my dog was all of a sudden with me, Jojo. And so we go around the side of the house, and I came to this huge bucket, this huge, like, you know, those kind of barrels, those whiskey caskets that people plant flowers in it. And it was like waist high. And I'm almost 5'8", so it was pretty high. And so my dog ran and jumped in that barrel, and I was like, oh my gosh. And so I looked inside the barrel, and it was filled with newly born bats. I mean, each one of them were this big. You know, when they're born, they're like little, and it looked like there was hundreds in there, and they were all crawling all over, filled up with these bats. And I reached in, that was a mountain biker that went by. So I reached in and I grabbed Jojo out of there, like out of horror, and I stood there looking at this new birth of all these bats. Well, I woke up, needless to say, that was super duper ridiculously gross looking and troubling and disturbing to me. So then so that next day I felt that there was this heavy oppression, and there was so much spiritual activity around us, around me, and something was moving, and something was even moving more. So then I went on and I said, so I got alone with the Lord, and I said, Lord, I said, I need to talk to you. I said, I feel like there's something more, and I don't know what it is. And I said, I need to know that you are calling me. Not a blanket covering, you know, like a one size fits all, everybody go out. But it means everything to me. And I think that when that happens to you in your life, God's stirring you up, and maybe you're feeling that. But I'm going to talk to you as soon as I'm going to directly talk to you when I'm done with this. But so I said, I'm going to address you is what I mean. I'm going to finish up real quick here. And so I said these distinct words to him. I said, Lord, just like you went and you got Matthew and you appeared to him, and just like David, who you took from the sheepfold, following the ewes great with young, to feed your people Israel, the sheep of your pasture Israel. I said, and even Samuel. And I started to talk to the Lord. I said, I pray you will speak to me like Samuel. I want a commission like that, a charge, a command, that you will enable me. You know, you guys, I know I do a lot of things. I know I speak to you a lot about the things that the Lord has taught me, what I experience, what he stirs in me. But there's something else coming. Do you understand what I'm trying to say to you? And I am excited because it was really heavy duty. I mean, I broke down. I sobbed in front of Jonathan. Jonathan had to really talk me through it. And I said, Lord, and I started to say, just like you came to Samuel 3 times, and then afterwards, the 3rd time, you said, Samuel, Samuel. That's 5 times he called Samuel's name in one night. And I said, God, I want to know it just like that. So that night, I prayed that morning, and then that night, Jonathan went to go take a nap, and I thought, I want to get into the Word. And I said, Jesus, I don't even know what you want me to talk about. Read. I said, I pray you lead me. And I opened the Bible, and it was 1 Samuel chapter 2. And I read right there in Samuel. Okay, so the next morning I woke up, and I was crying. I was upset. And it took me a while to get everything out. And I told Jonathan everything I'm telling you now. And he's standing right over there. And I said, Jonathan, I got to tell you, I said, there's something more. There's something more. There's something more to me. It's not that I'm doing anything wrong or or something's going to end. I can't put my finger on it. I don't understand it. I said, but there's something more that's coming. Now, let me pause there. Let me just backtrack because I missed an important part. All day yesterday, and I've been feeling this ongoingly where the Lord's been telling me, get away from the world. Get away. Enough of reading about the vaccines. Enough reading about the New World Order. And if you want to read about it, you go ahead. But I want your focus on me now. And it got to the point where it became loathsome and dreadful for me. So all day yesterday, I was walking around and my mind was thinking, oh, I really want to do a video. You know, I want to get back on the saddle. I've been away for a few days. I want to do a video. But what will I talk about? What will I talk about? I want, Lord, stir me up. And my mind started thinking like cheap things, like, you know what I mean? Like, well, maybe I'll bring up this or bring up that of something I read in the news, and or, you know, or concerns, real legitimate concerns about people not having jobs and people being evicted out of their homes and this and that. And every single thing that came into my mind, I heard Jesus say, that's not going to matter. That doesn't matter. All day, I kept hearing him all day say to me, that's not going to matter. Every time a thought came into my mind, instantly I heard his voice say to me, that doesn't matter. And at the end of that night, I was laying in bed and I could feel that powerful presence of the Lord, like he was there. It was powerful. And I said, Lord, I don't know what's happening. I said, every time I try to think about things of this world, what's happening all around me. And he said to me, all those things are not going to matter anymore forever. And I thought, what does he mean? What does he mean by telling me this all day and now telling me none of those things are ever going to matter at all anymore? And so that morning, Jonathan and I, he was helping me out so much and ministering to me because, you know, I've had a really rough life and I was crying about some things that I'm still not healed from. And it was just so beautiful to me and helping me. And then at some point, you know, he got up to go take a shower. And so I was looking at some text messages and a very good friend of mine sent me this Sid Roth video about a dream he had. And I'm not a Sid Roth follower and I respect him as a brother. And when I heard his dream and what the Lord was telling him, it was identical to what I heard. Now, understand, I'm super independent. I don't say things because other people say them. In fact, I run from that. I'm super independent. I don't want to springboard off of somebody else's dream or word or vision. My thing is, God can speak to me himself. But he said that the Lord gave him a dream, and he's 80 years old, and he saw himself as a baseball player in a dorm room. And he was saying, I'm not even an athlete. I was kind of crippled growing up as a kid. I missed all of that. And the Lord met me in this dream, and he's talking about this dream. I'll add the link down below, but he said, God laid his hand on me. And he said, I'm telling you, he goes, I don't know exactly what it means. He said, but something is coming. And so, you know what, you guys, I want to tell you right now, something is coming right now. And it's not going to be the norm anymore. God is going to start moving in your life and in my life and in the lives of all the people. It's no more the celebrity preachers. It's no more big coliseums and big stadiums of you know, high-powered preachers and big money. It's going to be people just like you, just like me. And God is going to do something in our lives we've never, ever seen before. I know it. I know I can't get away from it. Jesus showed me and told me. He said, those things, all these things that we're looking at, the vaccines, FEMA camps, COVID-19, being yanked out of our house, needles plunged into our arms, contact tracers, all this, I was thinking, the Lord said, that's not going to matter. That's not going to matter. That's not going to matter. Nothing is going to matter anymore. Ever again. Something's coming. And it's time to prepare. And it's not going to be the norm, and it's not going to be anything you ever did before. And I'm not just saying it because Sid did. I'm completely independent of Sid Roth. I'm not a baby anymore. So get ready. Jesus Christ is going to do something this world has never seen in those who love him truly and have been waiting their whole life to serve him. And that's probably you. All right, you guys, thank you so much. I'll talk to you soon. God bless you. Shalom. Bye-bye.